the main aim was to show or to set the objects or the installation into the nature first. So on that way you can see that kind of communication between objects and the nature. I wanted to set the objects in that kind of atmosphere, in cold atmosphere, where the weather is heavy, you have snow and clouds, and I thought that those kinds of form and type of material actually communicate with the nature. I didn't want to be some kind of to disturb the nature. I wanted just to feel that kind of energy because between the artificial and the nature, because it is very difficult to make that kind of connection between the artificial thing and the nature. You know,
maybe also the color of blue and...
The first part of the project was set in the nature, so that's why I made that kind of photo documentation, and I thought that will be just that, you know, I will set the objects into the nature, I will see that kind of communication between them, and I will see the new image with represented with those kind of objects. There I used transparent film, that kind of material that was used before in printing. Nowadays they're not using this kind of material.
Something maybe you would like also to say that if we use maybe plastic, but if we think about and we use it in a proper way, they are not a problem for nature, or
yes, actually this
they
refers
can live together, nature and plastic, if you think about it.
Yes. It's not only the materials; it's about the objects. You can use, for example, a different kind of material. And it refers to nowadays communication. If you set some kind of new building, for example, into an old environment, you must see how that new building actually communicate with the old environment. You know, we are witnesses of a lot of mistakes. You know, sometimes the form doesn't work with the environment, with the nature. So that's why we first should think about the form of the object, and then, because if there was a fortress with a lot of trees, then I will think about different form, maybe elongated form, and maybe different color.
And these are, you made these things, or you just find these?
No, those are made. This is actually. The second part of the project was actually setting the whole installation into the gallery, because there you have a different kind of approach. Now you have to bring and set the nature into the gallery, so that's why I made that movie, and those are waves actually, you can see there behind. And I wanted just to pass them. Yes, to see. Yes, this kind of material is different than the first part of the project. This is Veralit. We call that Veralit.
This one is
yes,
not the one that I
yes, because I thought it will be much more beautiful with this thing, you know, aesthetic, visual thing than that part. And
I like a lot. This photography, this one, so we cannot say that, but because it's something that you can see and also not see, and it works very well. What are you saying, that things can stay inside nature without disturbing or without having a strong impact
to be disturbing, to disturb the nature. I wanted just to fit into the nature, like to be part of the nature. And about the title of the project, Foreign Landscapes, is actually taken from the album of Hauschka. That is a German author, but while I was making those objects, I was listening to that music, and I realized that not only the name for rain landscapes, which means that you will have some kind of new landscape with those elements. Actually, the music fits into the whole ambient. You should listen to that music because when you put that music into the nature, it is like whole package into one, you know.
And so, I was thinking that here the sound of waves of the sea is well for the other exposition, but I don't know. It's your?
Yeah, actually, the sound and the video have to go through those objects and to be presented on this wall. But because of some technical problems, we fixed like this. But first idea and into the previous exhibition, actually, the video goes through those objects, and the waves are here, and those are actually like waves into the video. And I had to put sands on the floor, so it is actually like bringing the nature into the gallery.
Yes, you created a very nice situation in which you feel like to be at the seaside now, and you can see all these things that will symbolize some waves, something that flows. Like
it relaxes you.
Yes. How did you arrive to a thing like so? Why did you think about object and ambient and not earth or
what?
I would like to know which is your philosophy behind all these things. So you are very interested in nature and in the relationship between man, object, and nature, and is your
nowadays art is something more than how you call that skill, you know, kako je dobro savladana tehnika? Dobro savladana tehnika. A skill, but something that you are good in a skill. It is much more about philosophy, about science, and
which kind of role do you think that you have? You are an artist, and do you think that the role you have in the society is?
Well, as an artist, I can't solve problems, but I'm sure that I can actualize them. So in this kind of setting the objects, I'm saying that maybe some things are maybe not well done in the whole society, for example.
So you think that one of the problems now is to make people to think about the relationship between object and nature?
Yes,
and
like
you think that is one of the problems?
Well, I think it's the main problem nowadays because, for example, you have restoration of new buildings because it's much more architectural because you can see those buildings. And you have, for example, putting some new objects, buildings that are, for example, that are not like, you know, they don't fit into the whole ambient. So you can take this example and to compare with that example. It's the same. You can use plastic.
So you are very interested in how human activity can modify the ambient where you live and in the aesthetic sense. So maybe you can look to a mountain, and before it was a mountain, and after there is an horrible hotel that has nothing to do with that mountain,
like that.
And
yes,
you want to make us think about things like
I'm
so.
sure that most of the people, you know, wanted to decorate some place of the square, I don't know, or part of the city, and I'm sure that they're not, for example, satisfied with some piece of the city. I'm sure that everyone has some kind of notice about something, and that is what I'm saying. You know, not to disturb, to make, you know, visual disturbing. You know, so.
And do you think that
you should firstly see the surroundment, the settlement around, and then to act so you can see the energy of the nature, and to see what kind of object, what kind of materials is actually good for that kind of place, something like that.
And you are thinking more about buildings and not this single object and consumerism and something like so. You are more interested in buildings and in the impact of buildings in a city or in the countryside, and not in the single object that you can use and just put in the garbage every day.
Well, you can place those objects everywhere. I use the nature where the space is much more clear, but you can use the square, you can use the fortress, as I said, but the form of those objects will be different. That's why actually that refers to that kind of communication between objects and nature and surroundment and environment and everything. Because before this project I was working in another project where I actually built one little city of mine, and those were objects that if you look them from different side, you will see a little city. So I think from the very beginning of my work, I'm interested about architecture, about material that are used in architectural. For example, I started with painting windows, doors, gates. Then I started drawing. Then it was, like making them with my hands. And then it was actually like building a whole city. And now I'm actually some kind of interest into the environment in which I will place the objects, no matter were they buildings or objects like this.